Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Unbelievable. Honestly, really unbelievable. Congresswomen can use profanity and show absolutely no respect for the presidency and condemn and demean America, but President Trump is called a racist for telling them if you don't like America, leave. Go figure. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a real patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Good morning. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with the best of safe driving tires. Stop in and see them today, along with some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance proudly. Good morning.
Praise the Lord. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very, very well done, my dear friend. Thank you so much, and I know you'll call back later. Hey, I want to remind you right now we're going to scoot to the weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. You can't miss them. They're right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. My goodness, and they've got the best of tools and equipment to finish any kind of a construction project or your lawn needs or whatever. They've got all the tractors and the mowers to get rid of all those weeds. They've got everything over there. All you have to do is contact Roger and the crew today for more information. K&R Rental. And the number 678-3122. Right now, here's Gina with the weather. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
I apologize, sir. We're having some issues this morning.
All right. Well, we'll have that weather. We'll get it done in just a few moments. And I want to remind everybody, K&R Rental, of course, sponsoring our weather forecast right at the get-go. And we appreciate that. Caller, I'll be with you in a moment. Don't forget Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Big sale coming up on Thursday at about 10:30. Don't forget Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, with Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy. The sale that works for you. Get a hold of them today for cattle consignments and sale information. Thursday sale day, 678-9411 at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Also, real quick, we want to remind everybody about our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. My. All you got to do is stop in with your old rumply crumplies, and they will make sure that everything comes back to you looking brand spanking new. Wow, they are good. And by the way, if you don't have time to do your washing, all you have to do is take it into Daryl's Cleaners, and they will wash, dry, fold, and iron all the clothes that you wash. Stop in there, all the clothes that you need, by the way, I should say. And just like Mom used to do, stop into Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Absolutely the best. Wheels, do we have the weather now?
Yes, sir, I have it.
All right, let's go with it, please.
All right, so we are looking. This is live, by the way, Zeb.
Oh, okay.
So we are looking at partly to mostly sunny skies for today. However, by this afternoon, we are expecting a slight chance of some afternoon rain, showers, thunderstorms. Those storms could produce some gusty winds and some lightning strikes, so just be careful of that. We are expecting a high of 82 tonight, low of 54 tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies, looking at a high of 86 with an overnight low of 57. Then by Thursday, going to be a beautiful day. Sunny and 84, and expect that through the rest of the weekend. Currently, we're sitting at 63.
Thanks, Gina. And the weather brought to you again by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. The number to call, 678-3122. Caller, you've been patient. Good morning. What can I do for you?
They hung up, sir.
Oh, well, they weren't patient. Oh, my. Yesterday was one of those days, and I just wonder how many of you have had one of those, where no matter what you do, no matter what you said, or no matter what you tried to get done and accomplished, it turned sour. Had one of those days. Finally, yesterday afternoon, I just sat down and I said to myself, holy smokes. I mean, all the stars must be lined up and they're pointing at me going, nah, you're not going to happen today. I'll guarantee you. I'm not crying in my milk, but I will tell you that yesterday was one of those days where you take a big red pen and you mark it off and say, hopefully not again. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, how old do you think I am?
I know exactly how old you are. Why?
Well, I want to tell you that I was selling cars when they put a man on the moon.
Okay.
What were you doing?
I was in high school.
Oh, I see.
No. I was in college, come to think of it. I'm sorry. I gave myself too much age. I was in college.
When did you have your first rodeo?
Oh, for heaven's sakes. What is this question and answer time? What point are you getting at?
Well, I'm just trying to think of what you've done in the last 50 years.
Well, I announced my first rodeo back in 1970, way back a long time ago.
49 years ago.
Yeah, you got that right.
No, I just want to remind people that that's how long it's been since we sent somebody to the moon, and now they talk about it and nobody pays any attention.
Oh, I'm paying attention to it because I want to see how it's all laid out, and I want to see how it's structured, and I want to see how their publicity and all their advertising and the mechanical means of getting there and back. I really am going to study this, to be honest with you.
Well, it's just an interesting day, and it is an anniversary, and it was America that put the flag up there first.
Yep.
Remember that.
All right, my friend, I appreciate your call, and thank you for taking a little trip down memory lane. Appreciate that. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, with the warmer temperatures, they're going to be hanging around here for a while. It's summer, for heaven's sakes. The sky's not falling. It's summertime. And for all your cooling needs and all your air conditioning filters, stop over to Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. And if you want to call ahead and have everything waiting on the counter for you, please do so, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric, with over 6 decades of service to you. Please get a hold of them today, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Right now, also, I want to remind you, I got to remind everybody about Lunch Bunch. Lunch Bunch is going to be on the 25th. Next Thursday, don't forget the 25th, at Denny's, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. And they've got another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. All the different menu choices and delicious menu choices. I mean, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anytime, all the time. Great people, nice people, very courteous people serving you at Denny's Restaurant. Stop in and see them today, 611 North Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
How are you this morning?
I am peachy.
Good. Oh, this is just going back to this Cortez gal with the exploding mouth. She wants the entire world to realize that her and her other cohorts have enough power in their hands to destroy America from within and reshape it.
I agree.
And she doesn't realize that who she's dealing with. She's dealing with someone like General Patton, and that's it.
No, well, Tony, I find these women, and I'm going to lay it out on the table to you, whether it's Pressley or whether it's Cortez or Tlaib or Omar, I wish they would leave this country. I wish they would get thrown out of the Congress halls. I wish they would go back to their home states, pack a suitcase, and leave. I have no time for these women that spew profanity, and boy, I've got the proof right here on my desk. Some of the tapes and some of the words that were used by Rashida Tlaib are absolutely disgusting. Their attitudes towards America, and how in the world can they turn this around and say that Trump was racist by saying, if you don't like this country, get out?
Well, the big danger that we have right now is with the open borders, and she's for open borders. We're going to be at the point where there are more of these aliens in this country than there are Americans, and they'll eventually take over. How many American lives have been lost in wars trying to protect this country and keep it safe?
Well, you know what? I've said it for a long time on this country, and I'm not going to back any water to anybody, any group, any political party, whatever. If you don't like or love this country, leave. Leave. Get out of here. There were some actors, if you want to call them that said, well, if Trump's elected, we're going to leave this country. By golly, I would be willing to contribute money to their plane ticket, because if you're going to say something, do it.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer this fiasco is going to go on with this border, because if it doesn't stop. We've got millions of people in here. We don't know where they're at, and pretty soon, I'm going to make a prediction here. All these drones that we've got producing, flying all over the place, are going to be used by these people that have infiltrated this country to cause us nothing but problems.
I'm very afraid of that terminology, drone warfare, and I'm never going to argue with you or your thoughts, because I think you might be onto something that a lot of people are overlooking. Tony, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Zeb.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. My audience has got the backbone to speak up on these issues, and I appreciate that. You know, calling President Trump racist, really, it's beyond the pale now. It's like I said in the opening remarks. These potty-mouthed women that have the combined IQ of a bicycle spoke, they, from the get-go, were calling him offensive names, obscenities, everything else, and how they were going to impeach him and how he's absolutely not worthy of being... They went after him like a junkyard dog. And he turns around and he says, you know what, if you don't like this country, leave. Oh, my goodness, the liberals were burning their hair. Why, that's a racist comment. I don't care if it's racist or not. I think he spoke the truth. Caller, stand by. I've got to do a commercial break. I'll be right with you. I want to remind everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. I will be there this afternoon at 2 o'clock, and I'm looking forward to it. By golly, they're helping me. They're helping my legs. They can help you and your condition to get back to being you. Please give them a call today at 678-1191. 678-1191. All the exercises, great people that really know physical therapy and the use of the hydrotherapy pool, oh my, it's there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Hold on, caller. I'm a-coming. Hang on. I want to also remind everybody about Ark Animal Hospital. Oh, they care for your puppy dogs, your kitty cats, your dairy cattle, your horses, everything. All you got to do is either stop over at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union or call them at 678-1177. I still got that frog in my throat, so bear with me. And believe me, regardless of the injury or the health condition, they will get your animals back to where they should be. Healthy. Absolutely. Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I'm just calling.
Hold on a second. Caller, I am not getting you to come through in my headset at all. So if you're on a cell phone, hold it still, speak loudly, and go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Not very well, but go ahead quickly.
Well, Bill O'Reilly last night was just speaking about these illegals that are coming across and all the money that California's spending, which is taxpayer money, to get them in here and keep them. And it's going to break this country. Totally break the economy altogether if they don't get this thing stopped. And so far, very little luck. So, that's it.
No. No, I absolutely agree with you. I'm sorry we didn't have a better phone connection this morning. But what you're saying is exactly right. They are spending, they being the liberal left, the knotheads that have no conviction for our Constitution, our laws, etc. They are spending more money of our money, which just really offends me that my tax dollars are going to help more of the illegal situation than they are people that are homeless, citizens of this country in other ways and means. This is ridiculous, and it's got to stop. And, you know, folks, it's our fault. It's our fault that this is happening. You might say, well, how's it my fault, Zeb? Well, the reason is we're not speaking up. We're not absolutely getting the ear of our constituents, be they congressmen or senators, and saying, listen, I've had enough of your foolishness sitting back there in Washington not getting anything done. I am your employer. Get the job done or know that you're going to get fired. I'm fed up with it, and it's our fault. This has got to change. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, you know what's right around the corner, Bunky? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's the Minidoka County Fair and their rodeo. Oh, my goodness sakes. 71st Annual Minidoka County Fair, making tracks to the Minidoka County Fair, their theme. It's going to be July 29th through August 3rd, and they have got a lot of good things going on over there. Lawnmower races and tiny tot gymkhanas, and they've got great bands, music, and a lot of great food, like that Wednesday, August 1st, Lions Barbecue. And then, of course, Wednesday and Thursday, the 31st and August 1st, Junior Rodeo, and then their Wild West Open Rodeo on Friday and Saturday. Woo! I mean, it's going to be ripping good fun the way it should be at a county fair. The 71st Annual Minidoka County Fair and Rodeo for 2019. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, they don't talk much about, I know they do some, but not too much, about what the people that live down there near the border are going through because of all these people that are coming through that are not polite.
You know, Linda, I would...
property damage and all, and danger.
Well, I agree with you. I hope you can hear me okay. But, Linda, I would like to do, and I feel bad that I did not do this while I was in Arizona in February. I would like to do kind of a series of interviews, and I'm trying to set that up with some of the people I know that live right smack dab on the border, that run ranching operations and everything. I want them to tell their story, because what's going on down there should not happen to any citizen or any property owner in the United States.
No. no, we need to protect our citizens, and it seems like everybody is sad over the poor immigrants or migrants or whatever they call them. And some of them really and truly are. But there's a lot of crime and a lot of drugs. There's a lot of stuff coming through that is not good.
Linda, let me say something to you. I want to say this. I want to make a statement to you right there. And being that you're such a dear friend, I would appreciate it if you would either kind of lambaste me and not agree with me or agree with me. Okay, here's my statement. These people that are illegal aliens have been coming up here to our border to invade our border on their own volition, on their own wanting. We did not invite them. We had nothing to do with their being there. But being that they're coming up here and invading our country, all of a sudden we're responsible, we the taxpayers are responsible to pay the bills for their medical, their housing, and everything else, their food. Why? I didn't cause the problem. They did.
Yeah. There's a lot of crime and whatever down in the south of the border that it makes us look really good to them, I'm sure. But, like you say, they're an invasion. They're breaking our laws to get here, and we're supposed to be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm not. And I'm not going to pretend I ever will be, because I think it's absolutely going to break, underline that word, break America.
And I'm not sure that many of the Hispanic people or Latino people who are here are happy about those coming across that way either.
I agree with you. Boy, I know that's a fact.
They're good citizens and wonderful people.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. As a matter of fact, I had a Mexican gentleman that is up here. He's now a citizen of this country, and he said exactly what you just said. And they are very upset about what's going on.
Well, it makes them look bad, too, if you want to be racist.
Absolutely. Thank you, Linda. Your beautiful voice I'll look forward to next week at Lunch Bunch. God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you. I'm looking forward to it, too.
All right. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. I promise. I got to tell everybody about Jake and the rest of the crew over at Rain for Rent. Big Jake. I tell you what, just like the movie with John Wayne. They can handle all your irrigation needs. Rain for Rent. Reinke Diamond Dealer, Platinum Plus Certified Pivot Techs, industry's longest warranty. I mean, the accolades go on and on. Dedicated sales and service staff. What more do you want? You got people working for you that really, really care. So please get a hold of Rain for Rent today, 438-5065. They're located at 134 South, 600 West of Paul. Again, that number, 438-5065. Rain for Rent, helping you and your irrigation needs. Caller, thank you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Deb, one other thing to think about is if people don't think this isn't affecting us in our part of the country, it is. Because these illegals that are coming across, all these Californians are wanting to get out of California and moving here. And, of course, what is it doing to our taxes?
Yeah.
You know, they're coming up here in this state of Idaho. Some of these Democrats, they haven't seen a tax they didn't like, especially property taxes. And they're taxing us out of our shoes because of this. And it's going to force us to have to pass a proposition on the old timers, or it's going to tax the old timers right out of their house.
Well,
they're moving up here and driving the property values up.
Let me ask you this, caller, and I said this yesterday, and I got a little heat over it, but I'm standing behind my statement. I said, why should I pay my taxes and be diligent about observing the laws and being a good citizen when our government is breaking the law and giving my tax dollars that were earned legally to illegals so they can have almost a better life than I have?
That is 100% right, Zeb, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get a whole lot worse because here just locally, I was talking to some people that eavesdropping a little bit to some people that came here from, they were from Missouri, and they were moving in here because they're having the same kind of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And but the Californians are the biggest one because they're coming in here just oh man, coming in here because they think this is a bonanza for work and money and the property values here are low and they can buy in and drive the taxes. Oh, I'll tell you, it's getting bad.
Well, and the reason, again, caller, and please don't be offended by this, but it is the truth, and I think you'll admit it. The problem is that we're letting this problem grow like a cancer, and we're not standing up and demanding that things get done. I mean demanding. This jolly nice guy of saying, oh, please, Mr. Senator, or please, Mr. Congressman, that's baloney, bogus, and it's got to stop. We need to demand that something is done in our favor.
Well, we need to do that, Zeb. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. We need to do that, but you're not going to get anything out of Crapo. He's too busy trying to break up the Ninth Circuit District. And that's going to take a million years to get anything done with that.
Well, and I'm kind of glad you brought up Crapo and Risch and, of course, Simpson, which you know I'm not a very big fan of. But in regards to these politicians, senators or congressmen, I should owe you an apology as a listener because they're not on the air. And the reason they're not on the air is this. I am not going to go after like a dog chasing parked cars anymore. I called 1 week, for example, I called Crapo's office over 13 times trying to establish and reestablish. I'd make another option on time and they'd cancel that. I'd make another option on time and they'd cancel that. My time is very valuable also. And if they're going to keep canceling and saying, well, he can't do that, he can't do that, he can't do that, you know, you get to the point where who in the heck are they serving anyway? Washington, D.C., or are they supposed to be giving their constituents information about what's going on?
The problem is nobody runs against him. That's how he got back in there.
That's true.
He needs people, nobody, and Simpson the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody runs against him, so they get in every time.
Well, we've got to make some changes, but there again, that word we have got to step up and find people. We've got to step up and make more demands. We've got to become the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. I'm really sick and tired of where we're at. And it's got to change, and it's got to start with you and me.
Well, it don't happen. The last thing is going to be a civil war.
You are close to that, let me tell you. Thank you. Thank you for your call. Appreciate it.
All right.
I'll tell you what, folks, take the gloves off and look at things for what they are. They're very serious right now. We can't keep just letting our borders be porous and all these people coming in. My goodness, you've got a United States senator that's running for the presidency by the name of Cory Booker that is breaking the law and going down to the border and leading these people across by the hand. Oh, my goodness, we go down to the border, and we want to protect the border, and they throw us off the border. Oh, you Minutemen and all that kind of thing, get off of here, get away. You know, I don't understand what's going on in this country. I'm 71 years old, proud of it. You want to have a bone to pick with me on that? Go ahead. But things have changed, and not for the better. And we're not taking pride in America. Caller, I'll be right with you. I want to remind you, oh, my goodness sakes, we're right in the middle of the great big Oakley Pioneer Days, and later on this morning we're going to have Steve Staley on the program telling us about all the big activities that are going on for the rest of the week. Let's take a look at the calendar real quick. They had their motor rodeo last night. They've got teen swimming tonight, Oakley pool hours, and then don't forget Thursday night, the big Gymkhana, one of the biggest you'll ever see in the Northwest. And that starts at 6 p.m. Friday and Saturday night, the open rodeo, fireworks, the whole shebang. And then, of course, they're going to have volleyball tournaments, basketball tournaments. Saturday, of course, they're going to have the big chuck wagon breakfast and the Goose Creek runoff. Oh, and then Saturday, too, the biggest and best Oakley Pioneer Day Parade with the theme, The Best Is Yet to Come at 11 o'clock. Don't miss any of it. Get over there. Oakley Pioneer Days for 2019. And we also want to remind you about some of the great merchants that are up there in Oakley, San saying, come on up and enjoy. And that's Clark's for Shopping. All the great crew at Clark's for Shopping with that famous breakfast sausage from Grandma's recipe. Bulk patties or links. It's delicious. They've been in business since 1924. Clark's for Shopping in Oakley. And Oakley Valley Stone with the beautiful stones for fireplaces and headstones and landscaping boulders. Oh, beautiful, beautiful stone from Oakley Valley Stone, 204 West Main Street in Oakley. And last but not least, Searles, 120 North Center Street in Oakley. They're open 6 in the morning till 9 at night. Gas, grub, and goodies. It's good. And boy, have they got some delicious specialty buns baked fresh every day at Searles. Those are some great businesses inviting you to Oakley Pioneer Days. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. You know, we have this two-tiered justice system. You know, if you and I go into and agreement even with Mexico, if you happen to get across into Mexico and don't have a passport to be able to get back in, I mean, they're going to make it almost impossible as a U.S. citizen. But then all these illegals, you know, here's Booker bringing them across. But the whole bottom line is they're trying to destroy this country. They've been trying for decades with the help of the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Democratic Party largely, and some Republicans, you know, to bring this country down to third world status. So bringing in all of these people into the country, and now we have the president, you know, fighting back against these Islamic people. I mean, these Muslims that want to make this country an Islamic state. That's what they're basically doing, Zeb, and you know that. And it's just not compatible. Islam and Christianity are just, can't, like mixing oil and water. You're going to get mayonnaise, and you got just a big mess. And that's their whole goal, is to conquer the world, has been from day one. And Muhammad, of course, took pride in the fact he killed over 400 Jews himself. Does that sound like a religion or a theocracy of peace and brotherhood? No, it's a religion of hate and murder.
All right. Wait, whoa, Adrian, I let you talk for over 2 minutes straight. I got to jump in here. Hold on a minute. I've got a chance to get in here. Number one, everything you said is correct, but to give, they call themselves the Squad, these 4 women, freshman congresswomen that have taken it upon themselves to denigrate, demean, and use obscenities against our president and his administration. That's okay to let them use vile and filthy language, but when the president stands up yesterday at a press conference and says, if you don't like America, leave it, then all of a sudden that's racist. And that shows how absolutely twisted and torn the media is against this president.
Well, Zeb, I've always said people like, you know, Jane Fonda, I would be glad to pay her a one-way ticket to the communist country of her choice. And the rest of these, I'd be glad to pay a one-way ticket if they promise not to come back. And I bet Trump would do the same thing.
Well, the thing is, I don't see anything racist.
They're given all the benefits. You know, those of us that have ancestors that came in this country legally through Ellis Island had to have good health, had to have a sponsor. And then to see all of these illegals just pouring in here, and then they complain because there's not enough facilities for them. For crying out loud, we don't have enough facilities to bring in the whole world. Everybody wants to come here. I don't see anybody wanting to go to these other countries. Why do they want to come here?
Absolutely.
We've got the best country that God ever created.
I agree. Adrian, I got to get a commercial break in. I agree with you. Hold on. You got to give me some air here, partner. I got to have some time. I agree with everything you said, but I've got commercial breaks I have to take care of, too. Well, I don't want to see these people stay in office. I do not want to see them representing the American people. I do not want to see them sitting in the halls of Congress. I want to see them removed, and that's not racist whatsoever. Adrian, thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
But, yeah, we've got to hold our congressmen and senators' feet to the fire. They take an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution. Article 4, Section 4, Zeb says they're to protect us against invasion, and they're not doing it.
I agree. Thank you very much. Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. They've got 3 locations, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. And I'll tell you what, whether you're leasing or buying, they've got all the big dudes for all the equipment you need, man, for the lifting and the digging and the pushing and the carrying. Oh, yeah, they've got the big Doosan wheel loaders and the excavators and very low rate financing, excellent rebates. You better check it out today. All the Bobcats, again, excellent financing programs. Check it out at Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and Nampa, the best, Barry Equipment and Rental. I'd like somebody out there in the audience to explain to me how in the world it's racist to say, if you don't like this country, leave it. I stand behind the president 100%. And I know that you're going to say, oh, well, you're just an old right-winger. Well, maybe I am, because I'm proud of this country, and I'm absolutely sick and tired of the denigration by people that want to keep tearing it down. No laws, no borders. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. It's not racist to say that, because he did not pick a race and tell them to leave. He says, if you do not love this country, then go leave and find a country you do love.
Doug, I'm so glad you called, because I'm like the old picture of the kitty cat with his paw at the knot of the rope. That's where I'm at. I'm at the knot of the rope. I am sick and tired of what's going on in this country, and I'm sick and tired of a naive attitude, a blasé attitude of people saying, well, somebody ought to do something. Well, somebody ought to do something, and we're the somebodies that need to start demanding to a very poor Congress, a very poor Senate and House, that are not doing anything except taking our money and buying their nice clothes and sitting with their feet up on the desk. I'm fed up with these people.
Yeah, what have they done this year since January when they went off?
Please tell me.
I have yet to hear or see anything. They fight President Trump on his judicial picks. Warren has not voted for one judge that President Trump has nominated.
That's right.
Not one.
That's right.
I mean, they oppose this man because this man is a disruptor. He's there to end the gravy train, their cush job. Once they get there, they're in the good old boys club or girls club, however you want to say, and they don't have to worry about working ever again in their life.
Okay, let's kind of break this down a little bit, all right? It's called Pick a Subject Time. Medicare for all. Don't want it. Single payer, it will ruin, absolutely destroy our healthcare system in America. Your turn. Pick a subject. Are you against it or for it? Go ahead. Your turn. Pick a subject.
I'm against him.
No. You're not following the game rules. I picked healthcare and universal healthcare, and I said I'm against it because single payer will break everybody. Now you pick a subject and tell me whether you're for or against it.
Open borders.
Okay. Why?
It will destroy this country. It'll bring it down to a third world country. It'll break us. And that's exactly what they want to do. They want to bankrupt this country so they can have a one world order.
Absolutely. And in illegal immigration in general, I want to see everything stopped. I don't want the American taxpayer, me, you, anybody, on the hook for all the baby diapers, the medicines, the food, the housing, and everything. Why? These people that are illegal aliens came here under their own volition. They caused their own problem, but all of a sudden, Doug and Zeb got to pay for it.
Exactly. And the left and the people that want the open borders are forgetting one word when they talk about immigration. They're forgetting the word illegal.
There you go.
Yes, America was built on immigrants, but America was built on legal immigrants, people who wanted to become Americans, wanted to give up their other country and the problems that it had, come to America for a promise of a better future and give it up to become Americans. Now, I'm not saying that they forgot their heritage. That's a different story there. I mean, remember your heritage, but if you come to America, by George, become American.
Accept and adopt our culture, our Constitution, our laws, and try to fit in as American citizens. Doug, I got to get a weather forecast on, please.
Okay. One other little quick point, if I can be real quick. There's two things. The squad. I have learned a long time ago, if you have to resort to profanity, you have a very limited vocabulary.
Amen. And they're the ones that really push the button on that issue.
And another point, if you don't have a brown voice, don't come. If you don't have a black voice, don't come. If that isn't a racist statement, I will eat your Stetson.
No, you won't. They're too expensive. Thank you very much. Doug, I got to run. I'm way late. Thank you so much.
You bet. Take care of our seniors. God bless.
All right, thank you. Hey, don't forget the weather forecast brought to you by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room. And the number for you to call to make a hearing screening appointment, 312-0957. There's a lot of things that you need to be aware of, whether you do a lot of swimming, you got to protect your eardrums and loud noises, working around big machinery every day. You check it out, and when you notice a diminishment in hearing, please call them for a hearing screening. They can and will help. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's the weather.
Here's a look at your weather forecast as we make our way through this work week, and we are expecting mostly sunny skies for most of the week, maybe a few storms here and there, but for today, it does look like sunny skies, maybe a few clouds roaming around, and we do have a slight chance of some afternoon rain showers and thunderstorms. Those storms could produce some gusty winds and some possible lightning strikes, so be careful. We are expecting a high of 84 tonight. Those thunderstorms could continue in the early evening hours, partly cloudy skies for tonight with a low of 54. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 87. By Thursday, sunny and 86. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zephyr Rain.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. And brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Again, they are there to serve you with the best of your hearing health needs. Call them at 312-0957. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Honestly, the bottom line is not a lot of people want to mention this, but I'm going to because I really don't care if somebody's offended. I've worked hard all my life. So has my wife. And what little bit we've managed to save and put away for our golden years, that's ours. Why in the world should we have somebody in government, and there's a lot of these somebodies, say, well, yeah, but we're going to take your tax dollars, and we're going to do this, and we're going to increase this, and we're going to make you pay for that, and you're going to pay for them to come into this country, housing and food, and their medicine and their health care and everything. No! I don't want to share. I've worked hard all my life. You have too. And what you've earned, keywords, you've earned, is yours to enjoy. Not to give away to somebody because a politician is trying to score marks of, hey, vote for us. Don't forget our friends at Greystone Crossing, and believe me, homemade meals and housekeeping are provided for the folks at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living in Heyburn. What a wonderful place, wonderful idea. I urge the seniors that are listening to this, please, to give them a call and find out more. Take a tour and find out how wonderful this place will be for you. They can do no more than 16 residents, and yes, couples are welcome, and you'd have your own room with your own bathroom, exterior entrance. Why, it's just a great big home. A lot of camaraderie and fellowship and really enjoyable living at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living in Heyburn. Don't forget on 21st Street, just a mile from Walmart. You be sure and call them today, 650-4979. 650-4979, Greystone Crossing. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You just made a comment there that made me think about something. Isn't it illegal to buy votes? So a politician can't stand outside a voting booth and pay people to vote for him?
Well, yeah, but aren't they doing it?
That's my point. When you offer free, that's all you're doing is buying votes. They know they cannot implement that because there's no way to pay for it.
Well, Doug, wait a minute. The word free. You know, I get so sick and tired of people throwing that word around. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Somebody's had to pay for it. There is no such thing as free health care. Somebody's paying for it. There is no such thing as free housing or free medicine or free food. Somebody's paying for this, and I'm sick and tired of us, the taxpayers, being the person that's holding on to the dirty end of the stick.
Exactly. That's who they come after, is the hardworking Americans that go out and try to make something of their life, try to save something so later on in their life they can enjoy themselves. And that's who they come after to pay for all their free programs. They aren't free.
And I said yesterday on the program, if this continues, I'm going to be an advocate of not paying our taxes. Why should we? Why should we, when our money is being used to give to somebody else that's, first of all, an illegal alien from another country, and provide them services that actually are going to provide them better amenities than what you and I get?
Exactly. They get better health care. In fact, they'll make more money than a senior on Social Security.
Got to run. I got to run. I got another call. Doug, appreciate your call back. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, last time he was on the air, you had this professor. There was a professor of religion in some college.
Mm-hmm.
And do you recall some of the conversation?
Well, it depends. I had about 5 or 6 of them on in the last couple of weeks, so I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
Well, this fellow was talking about the lesbians and homosexuals, and you made a comment, and when you got through, I agreed with you 100%. But then I called in about these professors in college that they think they know it all, and this fellow did not. And I don't expect you to say anything one way or another, but this fellow really irked me, and he's a problem with the college professors. When you got through saying what you said, all he had to do is say, you're exactly right, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah.
That's the trouble. It's not complicated. It's simple. And they make it complicated.
Well, you know something? Let me interrupt you here because I've got another caller and I'm almost out of time. But the fact is that you have always had the courage and the backbone to stand up and show your convictions and talk about your convictions on this radio program. And we have a right as Americans to do so, and I'm going to continue to do so with the right of free speech. There are lifestyles and there are things that are absolutely perverted lifestyles that are hurting our kids, hurting our society, that I'm going to continue to speak out on.
Well, he's what my point was, that he was a kind of a professor that he portrays himself as having all the answers now, but he has no answers whatsoever, and he just wants to express himself to where he wants people to think he's smarter than what he is.
I remember the conversation. Hey, listen, I hope you're feeling well. Thank you so much for your call. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caller, stand by. I got to get this commercial in real quick from our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and oh my goodness, they've got all your tires. And even some of them, you can get an instant rebate on a set of 4 tires. You better check it out today. Go into any one of the 7 locations and let them serve you. And also, they offer a free pre-trip safety check. You better ask about that. And the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. I'm telling you, you're working with the best when you go into any one of the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I've got 1 minute and I'm going to have to cut you off real fast. Go.
Yeah, it's really frustrating to a person who works real hard every day to see somebody who's on welfare get more, make more, whatever, than the taxpayer does, especially when it comes time to after you pay your bills and your taxes and you still got to buy groceries and gas for the week. It's really dang frustrating, and I'll let you go.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you, caller. Coming up next hour at 9:06, you don't want to miss my good friend Raynard Jackson. This man absolutely tells it like it is, and I have the utmost respect for him. And then at 9:30, we're going to have Pastor Paul Thompson coming on the program. Dr. History at 10:06 and Oakley Pioneer Days at 10:30. A lot of things coming up. Zeb at the Ranch, God bless you. Here now. Wheels take us to CBS News. Good morning. Good morning. On a Tuesday, July 16th. My goodness sake, summer's going fast. Hey, good morning, Zeb at the Ranch, and hour number 2 with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of safe driving tires. Stop in and see them today. Along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and they are trying to help you get back to being you. Right now, let's have this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
You know, we talk about the dumpsters, we talk about the route service, we talk about the storage units. Oh, we forgot to talk about the porta potties. They've got all the porta potties for all of your events, your picnics, your reunions, your gatherings. Oh my. You got all the paper plates and the cups and the silverware and the napkins. You forgot the porta potties. Call Western Waste today. Always at your disposal. 734-6969. Want to remind you too about our friends at Redder Showcase. They are going to be having what's called a great big giant indoor tent event, and it's going to be July 17th through the 27th. My goodness, don't miss out on this. Up to 12 months, same as cash. Check out Under the Tent for the biggest savings, and they've got the best sleep center in Mini-Cache area. They've got all the Whirlpool appliances and the Speed Queen. My goodness, they've got your dishwashers. Listen to this. Dishwashers starting at just $329. Washing machine starting at just $419. Woo! All of this and more, up to 12 months, same as cash on approved credit at Redder Showcase, great big giant indoor tent event, July 17th through the 27th. And real quick, I want to remind you about our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary. You know, hello, Joel Heward. What a nice man, his staff and his family, very community-oriented, and they serve you and your family. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, the number to call, 436-5636. Don't forget that when there's the passing of a loved one, they are there to serve you with the support and comfort, and always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to call 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Wow, I've got this guy on the program, had this man on the program about 3 or 4 times already, and he is one sharp cookie. I enjoy having him on the air. Tells it like it is, and if you say something he wants to argue about, by golly, he'll let you know about it. Raynard Jackson, how are you?
Hey, Zeb, how you doing, my man?
I am really, really good. You are the founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future, and I'll tell you what, I hope you can help clean up this mess that's going on back there. It is absolutely out of control.
Oh, there's no question, Zeb, no question. And I'm going to be sending you later on today my column that just came out talking about this whole controversy with the President meets 4 Congress folks. And, Zeb, I tell you, if we conservatives don't do a better job of communication, Zeb, this country's going to hell in a handbasket.
Raynard, and Wheels over at the station, turn him up a little bit when he's speaking. I'm having a hard time hearing. But, Raynard, I wanted to ask you about this. I've got all the quotes and everything that were given by those 4 congresswomen, whether it was Rita Tlaib or Omar or AOC or Pressley, and all their obscenities and all their denigration of America and everything. And finally, the president speaks up and says, hey, if you don't like America, leave it. And all of a sudden, that's termed as racism. Please explain that to me.
Well, what you find is that just from a communications point of view, it had not so much, in my view, that what the president said was racist, but that the president, has no goodwill on racial issues in the bank. And so no one gives him the benefit of the doubt. And because a lie that's repeated enough times, Zeb, it becomes the truth. But it goes back to what I've been saying from day one when you had me on your show, Zeb. If we don't learn how to better communicate, we're going to continue to be on the defensive on a myriad of issues like this, and we just won't learn how to communicate.
Okay, Raynard, you and I have always got along good on this program because we can communicate and we can disseminate what the issues are and possibly how to solve them. But from your standpoint right now this morning, how would you rank the issues that are separating and segregating us as a nation right now? What are the top 3 issues that need to be addressed and aren't being talked about?
Well, this whole issue of racial equality, that's a big issue because, again, Zeb, if you listen to the coverage of this latest controversy, you hear words like the President Trump is a racist, he's a white nationalist, he's a white supremacist, but yet no one ever stops and says, can you define those terms for me? What do they mean to you? Because how can you debate someone unless you have a defined set of terms that you're debating on? And so, remember, a week ago, these same women said Nancy Pelosi was a racist. Kamala Harris said Joe Biden was a racist. So can you believe in 2019, Zeb, we're actually debating whether Joe Biden is a racist? I'm dumbfounded with his body of work in the black community and the civil rights. The mere fact Democrats are debating that's laughable.
You know, but yet it isn't laughable because we're seeing an entire Democratic list of wannabes for president stand up and pander, I'll use that word, to try to buy votes for their side. Beto O'Rourke coming out and saying, oh, I'm so sorry because we found out in my history that slave owners were a part of my family. I'm so sorry. Vote for me and I'll try to change it and make it better. That kind of pandering just makes me sick.
Well, is no question, and to me that plays into the president's strength. Regardless of what you think about him, he always shoots straight with you, and he says what's on his mind. Now you can not like what he says, but he tells you what's on his mind. Whereas these libs, Zeb, are out of telling you what they think you want them to say. And that's why, at the rate they're going now, President Trump is going to get reelected.
Boy, I certainly hope so. Raynard, tell me a little bit about your thoughts about this home ownership plan that Kamala Harris has come up with. To me, that's racist. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think I know what she's trying to accomplish, but again, with liberalism, Zeb, intent is always more important than the actuality. So because she has her heart in the right place, we're supposed to overlook the idiocy of her policy. She basically said, I'm going to do this only for blacks, nobody else, which is kind of problematic on its face. But number 2, Zeb, survey after survey have shown that millennials do not necessarily want to buy a house like our parents and grandparents did. They're not wedded to that part of the American dream because they're so transient. So I think it's a solution in search of a problem.
You know, I have your picture right here on the promo papers for this morning segment, and it has all the information about how you're the founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future, and you're focusing on black entrepreneurs and better business. All that tells me, all of this tells me that you're a man that absolutely says we've got to pull ourselves up, regardless of our skin color, and be the self-responsible people that are going to make success for ourselves and not have it given to us.
Well, yeah, and see, here's the interesting thing, Jeff. If you look at Tiger Woods, Venus and Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, all the most successful people in sports, business, entertainment, what's the common thread between them? They all know what the rules of engagement are. In each of their sports, they all know what the rules are. At each of their sports, they all have a referee or umpire that sole responsibility is to remove artificial barriers from their path, call a foul, call a ball out, or whatever the case. And so in America, we all have a unfettered right to go as far as our skill and determination will take us. And if there is someone who's putting an artificial barrier in our path, we have the judicial system to remove those barriers out of our path. That's what America wants. They don't want all these government programs. They just want an assurance that they will have a fair shake at the American dream. They don't want predetermined outcome. Just give me a fair opportunity, and I'll figure it out myself.
You know, Raynard, I would say this, and again, jump in and tell me if you think I'm wrong, but regardless of skin color or race, if everybody would put forth the effort and responsibility to try to succeed on your own assets and merits, I think it'd be just like a baseball team gathering around home plate with a walk-off home run. Regardless of the skin color, they're going to absolutely carry that man off the field.
No question at all. No question. Again, and yeah, this is what frustrates me. If you go into the black community and talk to just the average black, not the ones you see the liberal media promoting, you will find they are in agreement with our traditional conservative values, but nobody ever talks to them. And, of course, CNN and MSNBC, they're not going to put blacks like me on their show because I don't fit their narrative. And it's up to us as conservatives, Zeb, to make sure we provide as many platforms as possible for folks like me and others to refute this liberal bullcrap, and we won't do it, Zeb. That's why I get so daggone frustrated.
Well, now, I know you're in traffic, and I certainly hope that horn wasn't a car that was trying to hit you a minute ago.
Well, that's funny, Zeb. That's funny. I was hoping you wouldn't hear all this background noise. I'm trying to find a quiet place, and I can't find one.
Listen, we have a caller with a comment, Raynard. Stand by. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm a young feller, probably about 39 years old, but in my lifetime, I didn't really worry too much about I didn't really hear racism shouted or spouted off a whole lot up until right around when Obama started taking office and started running for office. And in my opinion, he was most divisive as far as starting a race war back and forth between people for no other reason other than to gain power and notoriety. And I will let you make a comment.
Make a comment on that, please, Raynard, if you would.
Can you repeat the question? I was keep kind of fading in and out on it.
No, that's all right. I think gist of the caller's comment was that he was a young man that really didn't understand racial tensions, etc., but he really became aware of racial tensions in this country, supposedly through the Obama administration that seemed to hype up and play on racial tensions.
Well, yeah, President Obama, I thought, would do a better job of bringing folks together, and as we both know, he did not. And I think the president, as you'll see in my column I'm going to send you today, Zeb, I think sometimes the president makes unforced errors, and he knows that the liberal media is not going to cut him any slack. And so Obama did his part as far as contributing to this racial friction going on. But again, we all got to stop looking for other folks to blame. And that's what I like about you. Listen, you and I come from totally different worlds, but yet you and I can sit down and have a drink any day of the week, and that's what we need to promote more in America.
You know, tell me quickly about your organization, Black Americans for a Better Future. What basically is a 24/7 job? What do you do? What are you trying to promote?
Well, what we do is, again, we try to bring our conservative business folks into the fold because they already agree with us on lower taxes. They believe in school choice vouchers. They believe in a value-based culture where there's a strong family intact, where there's discipline for the kids, where education is important. And so these are blacks that already believe in traditional values, but no one talks to them. No one in the conservative movement provides a platform for them to just talk like you and I talk all the time. And so our goal is to show the greater community in America that blacks are by nature traditionally conservative. And we're not an outlier. We are the norm.
How are we going to change this? What can I do? What can others do to see that the CNNs and the MSNBCs and the CBSs, et cetera, try to call Raynard Jackson and start to get a dialogue of healing this nation instead of separation?
Well, number one, speaking right in your show, that's one thing, and I appreciate you doing that. Number two, any folks you know in the political arena in your state, the White House, or any other media colleagues you have, I want to go on any platform I can, and to the extent that there's something going on out in Idaho, invite me. I'd love to come out there. I told you, I've not been there to hang out with you, and I want to do that. And so I think just through your network of folks that you know, if you think they're interested in hearing this same conversation, give me an invitation. I'll go wherever.
All right. We have another caller quickly with a question, and I'll paraphrase if you can't hear it. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, Raynard, do you know Candace Owens? And I agree with everything she said. I think there's opportunity for the black people if they want it. I personally know black people that have done great, even here in Idaho. So I was just curious. I'll hang up.
His question was, in case you didn't hear it, Raynard, do you know Candace Owens and your thoughts on her and what she professes to the American people?
Yeah, we don't know each other personally. We are aware of each other. Yes, I know. I think she's trying to do a good job, but my advice to her is she needs to bone up on the issues more and speak less and then come back out. But she needs to get a little bit more gravitas and substance behind her. But I think she has a lot of upside, and there are people like her all across the black community there. But, again, we need to engage them on the local, state, and federal level. But I think she's doing a decent job.
You know, one last word here before I let you go. I consider you my friend, and I want you to know that you're welcome here all the time, but color of skin doesn't make a hoot's difference to me because we're two business people sitting here talking about how to cure some of the ills in America, and I'm sick and tired of race and skin color always coming in as a dominant factor in many conversations. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. Yeah, well, I agree with you. Zeb, listen to the Democrats' portrayal of America. I don't recognize this country, and if the country was truly the way these liberals are painting them, I would want to leave too, Zeb, but we both know that's not America. America is the greatest country on the face of this earth, and there is more good in America than bad by far.
Absolutely. Listen, I want you to put your hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2, honk the horn, and put your foot on the accelerator and get out of that mess.
Thank you, Zeb, but I may end up taking you up on that, but I'm getting out to Idaho soon.
All right, you call. We're going to go have that dinner. Thank you very much, Raynard Jackson, the founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future. God bless you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, sir. I heard that horn honking in the background, and I thought, oh, no, he's in the middle of a car accident. But driving back in Washington, D.C., that's where his office is, Raynard Jackson. Just a real straight shooter. A real straight shooter. And you know what, folks? That's what we need. We don't need all the doublespeak from these absolutely pathetic politicians. Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. Old Joe doesn't even know what's going on. Did you hear about what Biden did the other day? I got to take some time and tell you about this. He gets up at the podium and he uses the same line that was considered to be the biggest lie ever to come out of the Obama administration. You can keep your policy and your doctor. We know that was the biggest joke about Obamacare. We know it was the biggest lie. And what is Biden doing coming back out and saying, you can keep your policy and your doctor? If these nincompoops with the Democratic left have their way and they go to single payer, there won't be any policies. There won't be any private insurance companies. And you will not be able to see the doctor of your choice. This is lunacy, and we got to call him out on this. Joe Biden, he's beyond his time. He and Bernie Sanders, please call Shady Nook Rest Home, make a reservation, sit down, and relax. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget that tomorrow at 10:06, one of my favorite segments, The Old Fishing Hole, sponsored by Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls, with Josh Anderson. I do not know where Josh is going to be. He's either going to be in the river, or he's going to be in a stream, or he's going to be out on a boat, or he's going to be standing on a lakeshore. And he's actually fishing while he calls into our program. It's called The Old Fishing Hole, sponsored by the great, great Sportsman's Warehouse for all your sporting needs, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Stand by, caller. I'll be right with you. I've got to get my commercials in, or I get in a whole bunch of trouble. I want to remind you, Oakley Pioneer Days, my goodness sakes, tonight they're having a teen swim night on behalf of Oakley Pioneer Days. And then on Thursday night, look out, the biggest gymkhana. I mean, they go till wee hours of the morning. One of the biggest gymkhanas anywhere in the Northwest. Friday and Saturday night, open rodeo, fireworks. Oh, my goodness. All of this with many other items leading up to the big Saturday Pioneer Day Parade in Oakley, where the theme is the best is yet to come. Parade time, 11 o'clock. It's always good. It's always big. It's always enjoyable at Oakley Pioneer Days for 2019. Caller, real quick. You're on the air. Go ahead. And they're backing up. Okay. Evidently we didn't get there quick enough. I tried. We're going to have our next guest on the program momentarily. Stand by, and I want to remind you about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. I talked to old Jeff yesterday, and he was telling me all the good things that are going on, and they're located at 459 Overland in Burley, and they're having a big summer clearance on mattresses and recliners, and I think it was Captain Morgan over there the other day at Lee's Furniture said, boy, there's unloading more recliners all the time. And the truth of the matter is you've got to get in and try one on that fits you, just you. Very comfy. And they've got all the floor coverings and a great deal on the luxury vinyl planks, close out on some carpets. You better get in there right now at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More for the beautification and the comfortization of your home. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Really, really good people. One more good word, and then we're going to go to the phone line and have our next guest come on the show, and I'm really looking forward to him. We want to remind you about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. I urge you to stop over to Let's Ride. Why? Because you need to have some fun. And they sell fun. They've got all the side-by-sides, the four-wheelers, all the watercraft. I mean, man, you need to enjoy the great outdoors of Southern Idaho. And they've got all the accessories, too, and a super service department to keep you running. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line. And I am very, very proud to call this man my friend. I'm very proud that he's been on my program. He's, in the past, he's the pastor of the Eastside Baptist Church in Twin Falls. And I say a good morning to Mr. Paul Thompson. Reverend Paul Thompson, how are you, sir?
Yeah, Zeb, I'm doing great. Thank you. It's always so kind of you to have me on the air, and so it's good to talk to you again today.
No, it's not kindness. It's a favor to me because you are helping me in what I think needs to be done in this country to kind of get a big dustpan and a mop and a broom and try to clean this mess up. And I really respect your op-eds that are occasionally in the Times News. The latest one about the church and how little we expect from the church today. Give us a quick synopsis of what you wrote and why you wrote it.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Zeb, for this opportunity. And, you know, it is essentially just a call out to the church to not surrender your duty to the parachurch organizations. Don't sit back and let other organizations or other people do what God has ordained the church to do. And when the church does that, the church becomes weak, anemic, and consequently the community grows less interested in any time the church speaks up. They're not interested in what the church has to say because the church is more picked up the bounce house and the cotton candy machine and free hot dogs rather than being a place where truth is heralded, where the Apostle Paul tells Timothy in that pastoral epistle that you preacher, your pulpit, your church is a pillar and a buttress of truth in the community. And sadly, some churches forget that, and they put that post down, they put that banner down, and they go to picking up other things that really is not in their lane. It's not their duty. That's more suited for the furniture store that's going out of business than for the church.
You know,
so it's me a great passion, a great desire to see the church alive and flourishing, active in her duty of preaching the gospel, advancing the truth in the community. And so consequently, we end up with communities like what we're having right now, where the nation is confused. The nation doesn't know what a male and a female is anymore. The nation doesn't know what marriage is. The nation doesn't know what a baby is. So that's because the church has been blowing up bounce houses for too long, and we've not been opening our Bibles and preaching.
Boy, that is so well put. You had a paragraph in your op-ed that just absolutely slapped me right in the face with the knowing and the knowledge of what you're talking about without even having to read the rest of the article. You said, if you want to influence city, county, state, or national issues with a moral base, you will be hard-pressed to find a church anywhere willing to engage. And that really hit me because for the last 6 months, I have been begging pastors of any denomination to call and be involved in this program to talk about and speak out on social ills that need to be corrected. And that I'll use the term, and if somebody's offended again, that's their problem, not mine. I have seen nothing but cowardice because nobody's stepping forward except you.
Yeah, and it's a grace of God that the church would pick up her duties. She would know from the order that God gave his church that she should have this gospel banner up on her shoulders like a military fit army ready to advance in the day, to announce the certainty and the absoluteness of the hope that anyone would have in being redeemed and saved from their sin by looking unto Christ and carrying that banner into a world that doesn't want to hear that, a community that would rather talk about things that make them happy rather than truth. So when the church puts that banner down, she just loses all influence. The community no longer looks to her. The leaders, the politicians, the elected officials, our representatives in this glorious republic that we live in, they care little to what the church has to say today. because the church has made herself essentially in a place of not influencing as she once did in days past.
When I think of influence and the power of the church and the power of the pulpit, and I think back, let me go all the way back to a television series that I found to be a great family series. You didn't have to be embarrassed to sit there and watch it with your kids, and the message was always positive, and that was Michael Landon's Little House on the Prairie. But some of these sub-characters in that show, i.e. the minister of that local town, with the leadership from the pulpit addressing some of the ills in the society and how to cure them, that's what we've lost today.
It really is, isn't it, Zeb? That kind, that truthful, that steadfast voice in the community is just really largely gone. And by the grace of God, it's not completely gone. But as you're addressing it and noticing that more and more pastors are less interested in being that voice. Maybe they want to be that voice, but they don't want to have to address the social issues that are going to cause perhaps some trouble for them. And so we need to pray that God would really give courage to His church and to the pulpit again, and that we would rise back up with that blessed gospel banner on our shoulders that the nation needs, that my community needs. So may God help us.
You know, let me ask you very bluntly, why are the ministers, pastors, church leaders, etc., why are they concerned so much today about hurting someone's feelings or stepping on someone's toes? If it's in the Bible, that's God's Word. And are they going to serve man or are they going to serve God?
Yeah, it's hard to know what's behind someone's heart or what's behind why they're thinking. I think many pastors, their intentions are strong and they're well intended, but I fear many of my fellow pastors, who I love pastors, by the way, Zeb, but many of them really have bought the idea that there's a better way or a different way than how the Bible puts it in front of us. And, you know, as a pastor, I'm held to the authority of Scripture, and so I hold it as infallible. I hold it as true, but we must also take it into a more important position and declare the Scripture sufficient. When we don't treat the Bible as sufficient to change the hearts of men, then we'll more likely be interested in hearing someone talk about how they packed their church house up with people by a program or by a system, a methodology that is attractive to the lost world. But, you know, the great Charles Spurgeon, pastor in London back at the end of the 1800s, he was often noted for saying that if you use a carnival to attract the unconverted, you will only have unconverted people. But when you use the truth of Scripture, what you'll have is converted hearts, changed people. And so pastors need to, we all need to remember, and listen, I fall prey to that temptation. Wouldn't it be a sweet thing to have this place packed out this week? And wouldn't it be great if we could have 2 or 3 services like the other churches do? But really what we need to do is just realize our duty is to be faithful, and the church's duty is not to put pressure on the pastor to pack the place out. The church needs to hold the pastor true to preaching the sufficient Word of God and trust it. God will do His work.
You know, Paul, another paragraph that really stood out to me in your op-ed piece was this, and I quote, "This is for sure, if morality is not legislated, and that from a position of absolute truth, it will not be long before the immoral community begins to legislate immorality." Explain that, because I think it's very poignant.
Yeah, Zeb, you know, the church has been told for so long we've been being told that, hey, if you speak about these things, you're going to lose your nonprofit status with the federal government, and that's really a lie. The churches need to be liberated from that lie. So we believe that lie, and then it doesn't take long for us then to begin behaving the way the immoral community wants us to behave, and that's simply to sit down in the corner and be quiet, mind your manners over there, and entertain our children and give us happy experiences. And so we do that, and it doesn't take long. The immoral community loves it when a church is like that, because now they can begin to legislate their immoral ways and eventually have their way to do their sin in broad daylight without any voice in the community to say, "Thus saith the Lord." So the community wants a church. The unconverted, it doesn't mean that they hate the church. They actually realize there's good to them for a church that will provide entertainment for them. They want that, and they like that. But when the pastor stands in his pulpit and he opens up the ancient Word of God, and he begins to preach, and he begins to tell people who God is again, people's hearts will be changed, and they'll be tender now to what's true, and they won't want to live in their immoral ways. They'll want to break those false idols off, and they want to embrace truth again. And so that's why the church must pick up her gospel banner again, because the community will legislate immorality. They just simply will.
How do we do this, though, Pastor? I mean, I'm a squeaky wheel on the radio. I've asked people to be involved, and they won't be. They're afraid to speak out. I'm sure that you've probably done the same thing. And it's exasperating, and it's really disgusting that we're letting more morality and our value system go down the drain because nobody wants to speak up for fear of hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah, it is a tragic whenever we feel like it's more kind to not tell people truth than to tell them the truth that they need to hear. It's the most kind and loving thing a church can do for our community is to preach the truth, to be kind, compassionate, full of mercy and grace while we do it, because as the Apostle Paul told the church in Corinth, this place of believers is filled up with a people who were once like those who are living in their immoral ways. And so we walk with an understanding of the heart of man, but we move into the light of truth with great joy and great expectation that this truth is what liberated me. I want this truth of the gospel to liberate my community. And so it's steadfast work. It's really, the church has to remember that she's really like an army. God has positioned her to be a fit, a disciplined, steadfast army to take the truth into the world that hates it. And so the church, when the church forgets that her duty is that of really being on the vanguard with a banner that's advancing the banner of the kingdom of God, the church becomes happy to look for the winter barracks and just sit back in the winter barracks and play games and do nothing. But no, the church must walk out into the field of battle, and we must get back in the vanguard and move this gospel banner forward.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be a popular thing because people would rather you sit down in the corner and stay quiet.
Whether the issue is about drugs in our community, or whether it's Planned Parenthood, or whether it's the abortion issue, illegal aliens, the gay, lesbian, and transgender issues, whatever it is, there needs to be some kind of an awareness from the pulpit to the congregation to help better the community. Respond quickly, and then I'll take a call.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Zeb, and one thing that we're trying to do right now, we're going to gather all churches in the Magic Valley at Eastside Baptist Church on August the 1st, and we're going to ask the Christian community to prepare to move forward with stopping abortion, abolishing it completely in the state. And So it's just going to take an organized effort, an intentional effort, and a biblical effort. If we try to do it without a biblical means, then we'll fall into the same trap every parachurch organization does, and we'll forget what our duty is.
We have a caller with a question. Quickly, caller, you're on the air. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, Zeb and guest. Would it be possible to have fire-breathing pastors like yourself to have meetings at local fairgrounds where large numbers of people can come together and ask questions and listen to what you have to say, and maybe we could bring people together that way at our local fairgrounds?
I'll have him respond on the air. Thank you very much, caller. Pastor, please.
Yeah, listen, I like what the caller's thinking is all about, and I agree with him. We got to get back into public square places where the community knows, hey, we have a work to do, and so come and let's get this done. So like as I was sharing just before the caller called, which I appreciate his desire to have this in the community, we're August the 1st at 7 o'clock at Eastside Baptist Church. We're going to gather our community together because we want our representatives in our region to know that this next legislative session, we want them to actually hear and debate a bill to abolish abortion, which is murder. And you know the Bible tells us don't murder. I mean, that's simple. But we're murdering babies every month in the city of Twin Falls. Babies are murdered. It's astonishing. 258 babies were murdered in the city of Twin Falls last year. Listen, if 250 people at any age or any stage of life were murdered in our valley, the whole of the community, converted and unconverted alike, would be in a complete uproar. But 258 babies are murdered, and hardly anybody says a word. We got to change that.
Absolutely. Pastor Paul Thompson, all I can say is I'm very proud of you and your forthright manner, and keep up the good work. And call me after the program and tell us more about that August 1st, and I'll keep publicizing it for you. And I appreciate everything you do. Well, we got one more call, Paul. It just came in. One more call. And caller, quickly, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I've spoken to pastors around the valley, especially in Twin Falls, a few of them, 5, and wanted them to be more vocal and involved. And I got the feeling that they were more concerned about looking politically correct than they were willing to go out and do the Lord's work. The Lord's work will never be gray. It's black and white. The law will never change. Truth is truth. And when we're worried about looking politically correct and with it, cool, whatever it is, so we can keep our numbers up, I worry for them, because I tell you what, that's not leadership.
Respond to the caller, please.
Yeah, listen, I appreciate what he's saying. And so I should say to the listeners, Zeb, and I say to myself and to you, that we just really need to keep praying, asking the Holy Spirit of Almighty God to empower His church again. His church is designed for days like today. His church is designed to go into a dark day, into a day that is all wheels are falling off of the bus. And the church is uniquely fit for this kind of day. Let's pick up our Bibles, let's preach the gospel, and let's call all men everywhere to repent.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Paul Thompson, Eastside Baptist Church. God bless you, my dear friend. Come back soon, please.
Thank you, Zeb. It's a pleasure to be on the air with you.
Thank you. Thank you. I find him to be very refreshing, honest, and straightforward, like I said. And I don't know. I just feel sad that other ministers and pastors won't accept the responsibility of speaking out on issues that they need to preach on, they need to teach on, and they need to put in sermons in front of their congregations. And I've asked them to come on this program And so far, Pastor Paul Thompson's the only one? Where are you people? And why not speak out and help the community? Time for a weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cache area for well over 50 years. Absolutely the best. They are the professionals serving you, your family, and your business with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, and business consulting, payroll services, retirement planning. The list goes on and on. I don't care if you're involved in agriculture or manufacturing, food production, construction, whatever the business, they can help you. Please remember the name Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's a look at your weather forecast as we make our way through this work week, and we are expecting mostly sunny skies for most of the week, maybe a few storms here and there, but for today, it does look like sunny skies, maybe a few clouds roaming around, and we do have a slight chance of some afternoon rain showers and thunderstorms. Those storms could produce some gusty winds and some possible lightning strikes, so be careful. We are expecting a high of 84 tonight. Those thunderstorms could continue in the early evening hours, partly cloudy skies for tonight with a low of 54. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 87. By Thursday, sunny and 86. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Rand.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by our friends at Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Accounting services for over 50 years for you. They have offices in Burley and Rupert and ready to serve you and your family and business. Please contact them today. The best, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I have an update on that story. Maybe you heard about it early this morning. Maybe you did not. I have an update on a story from East St. Louis Park, Minnesota. The city council, imagine this, the city council felt the heat from the general population. Oh, and they had a meeting last night back in East St. Louis Park, Minnesota, and the city council voted unanimously, oh my goodness, to reinstate the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance. They said, well, we didn't have the time. Well, now they found 17 seconds to where they can say the pledge at every meeting, and the general public spoke and was listened to. And believe me, there were a lot of demands for the city council's heads if they didn't revote and didn't rescind their negativity against the Pledge of Allegiance. So last night, and I saw some of the news clips, some of the people were sitting in the audience with their flags and waving their flags with a glare in their eye like they'd better vote to put the Pledge of Allegiance back in there on behalf of their city, and the city council did. So, don't ever tell me that private citizens cannot form power and get the job done. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, and here's another story that was good. It made me feel good. Maybe not you, but it did me. I'm sure many of you will agree. I haven't yet figured out where the location was of the Chick-fil-A restaurant where a faith-based group, singing choir, was going in for lunch. And they opened the door, they went in and ordered and everything, and all of a sudden one of the members started coming out in song of Lean on Me. And it was amazing. All the people in this Chick-fil-A, and it was really crowded with a lot of customers and even the staff. Everybody basically stopped what they were doing and joined in with this faith group in a happy, very well-harmonized song, Lean on Me, and everybody felt good together. Amen. Don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more for your protection, for your family and your business. Be sure and get a hold of them today. Easy, easy. All you have to do is just call the number, make an appointment, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. I know that these people are devoted. I know these people are dedicated and very responsive to your needs. Again, all you got to do is make that call. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really, really good people. And speaking of good people, before I run out of time here this morning, I'm kind of running a little bit late, and you'd probably say to yourself, so what else is new? Want to remind you about our friends at 421 East Main in Burley, and that's Patterson's. Oh, my goodness, your TV's not working very good, is it? It's kind of going this way, and it's kind of going this way, and your picture's kind of going, whoop, it's gone. Well, they've got all the TVs there, Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs, all this great selection right there at Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena are really nice people, and they welcome you to come on in, and they've got all the closeout on power cords, and they're having the monster cables 50% off. They are all your electronic needs headquarters, home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, and more. They're open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6, closed on Sundays. Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. You stop in or give them a call at 678-6997. I can hear the man in the background. He just walked in the door, and that means that Dr. History is with us for this next half hour. I'm really looking forward to having him back on the air. He was on a fishing trip last weekend, and he's probably going to tell us about the 5.5-footer that got away, and that's coming up at 10:06. And then we're going to be talking to Oakley Pioneer Days at 10:30 with Steve Staley. We got a whole bunch of things to do for this next half hour. Quick reminder, Lunch Bunch will be next Thursday, the 25th, at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner at 611 North Overland in Burley. Lunch Bunch next week on the 25th at Denny's Restaurant. Don't miss it. Right now, we're going to scoot to the news from CBS. Oh my, we're into hour number 3 on a beautiful day in July. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And of course, don't forget some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Hey, Doc, don't forget Oakley Pioneer Days all this week, and some of the great businesses that want you to come on up and enjoy the fun are Smith's Cafe at 135 East Main in Oakley. Don't forget, do they make a burger? Oh yeah, they do. And they've got all the cold drinks. They've got everything for you to enjoy right there at Smith's Cafe in Oakley. Wishing you a great Pioneer Days. Scott Bedke, our dear friend, Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke, a rancher up in Oakley, wants to invite you and your family to the 132-year celebration of the best, Oakley Pioneer Days. And don't forget, too, there's a lot of things going on all this week up in Oakley. Holy moly, they've got a great big page full of goodies. On Thursday night, don't forget the big gymkhana. I mean, that's a big gymkhana. And then on Friday and Saturday, the open rodeo and all the fireworks. And then during the day, Friday, the co-ed grass volleyball tournament, basketball tournaments. Holy moly, Saturday the 20th, chuck wagon breakfast, all leading up to that big parade at 11 o'clock. Pioneer Day Parade, the best is yet to come. Oakley Pioneer Days for 2019. Right now with us in the studio, and we are so blessed because he has said, oh, well, I guess I'll come to work today. Here he is, the world famous. By the way, folks, if you sell him a cap, take out the cardboard lining because he forgets how to do that. Dr. History, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks, Zeb. But I got to say, I do have quite a rodeo
background.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're laughing already.
I can't help it.
Well, so, the Oakley rodeo that they have every year.
Yeah.
Well,
good one.
Yeah, I have an experience there. When I was about 10 years old, I did the mutton busting.
Did you?
And that was the end of that.
I didn't know God had created sheep then.
They were there. Anyway, it was fun. But
how you been?
Great.
And you had a good week last week.
I did, yes.
Okay.
We got grandchild number 14 coming.
You've got 14?
Number 14 coming in the next few days, so...
I'd hate to buy your Christmas presents.
Oh, boy, I know. But it's great. It's great.
What are we going to talk about today?
Well, a few years ago, Kevin Costner did a thing called 500 Nations. He did a video, and there was a book about the Indians. 500 Nations.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk today about the Apache. We're going to discuss just the Apache Indians, pretty much.
Okay.
And how
out of Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, commonly they did not keep any written history. So what we know about the origins of the Apache is pretty sketchy. We don't know that much. Some say the Apache was in the Southwest when the Spaniards came. Others that they were still working their way down from the far north at that time. But by the middle of the 1600s, the Apache called a large portion of Texas, West Texas, all of New Mexico, a big chunk of southern Arizona, and all of Sonora and Chihuahua in Old Mexico as their own. So that's a big area.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Omnipotent overseer of all things history.
Yes.
Apache, Comanche, Arapaho, whatever the name. Isn't that basically a tribal name of that group?
It is, and sub-tribes.
Okay.
So, and that does get a little confusing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was rumored that the Navajo was a cousin of the Apache, but there were so few similarities that by the time the Anglo settlers met them, that it's hard to believe there was ever any connection between the Navajo and the Apache. There are some points of agreement in custom and
Was
religion.
it a political difference?
I don't know. Just the way they lived. I don't know what we would call the differences. Some in appearance, but anyway, they were totally different in temperament. The Navajos compared to the Apache. The Apache was always on the move. His life, his soul was centered on war. The various bands of the Apache, and this is where we're going to talk about, the Chiricahua, the Mescalero, the Ojos, the Caliente, Tonto, and others, were part of the Apache, but they were often enemies to one another as well as to other tribes. So they would roam the country fighting with more peaceful Pueblo and desert Indians. They would go on raiding, stealing, and killing until they almost destroyed the more passive, easygoing tribes that were not warlike.
Can I ask you another obviously dumb question? How could you tell them apart from other Indians at that time?
The scouts back then, the military scouts, the mountain men, they could tell just by arrows, by the dress, there were definite differences, too many for us to even...
And I don't mean to beleaguer this, but I think it's interesting. So it must have been a culture or a political change or difference in the way that they lived.
Exactly, yeah. The priority of who's in charge, the chiefs, the sub-chiefs, things like that, yeah. Now, as did all Native American tribes, the Apache called themselves, quote, the people. Okay?
The people.
The people. A name they did not take lightly. Everyone else was not of, quote, the people. They were the only ones that were of the people. Now, the first person to write the term Apache, which actually meant enemy in the language of his Indian guides, was a guy by the name of Castaneda, and he was the historian of Coronado's expedition in 1580. So that's clear back when the term Apache came into being, 1580. Now, other Indians agreed with the European invaders that the Apache was the meanest, the cruelest, the honoriest, freedom-lovingest, and foxiest Indian who ever roamed the Southwest. Now, he constantly harassed the Pueblo tribes. He dropped this fight, however, to become their ally in the great
Pueblo Revolt in 1680. Now, what that was basically the Pueblo Indians drove out the Spanish colonizers. They drove out about 2,000 people, the Spanish colonizers, and killed about 400.
Was the term Apache a terminology from the Spanish colonizers, or was it given by the Apaches themselves?
Well, that's what this historian gave them the name, Apache. So where that actually really originated, I don't know. Because he was with Coronado's first expedition in 1580. But the term meant enemy. But anyway, they became allies with the Pueblo Indians during that revolt. And now once the revolt was over, the Apache melted back into the wildlands to resume their enemy ways. And despite this, the Pueblo welcomed their assistance again in 1745 and 1750 when they tried to toss the Spaniards off the continent. So the Indians were trying to get rid of the Spaniards. Excuse me. Now, the Spanish padres never reached the Apache with their messages about the Europeans' one true God. After all, the Spaniards were not, quote, of the people, so how could they know the true God? That was their reasoning. The God of the people was everywhere, certainly not contained in the Spaniards' brightly painted dolls. Also, the Apache was no fool. Only too often he'd seen the Spanish brands burned into the hips or cheeks of the Indians who had fallen under the spell of the Padres. He knew that Indian converts were often herded like animals to the plantation or the silver mines, and there they worked and died as slaves. The Apache were destined to roam the desert and the mountains with the wolf, the mountain lion, the bear, and I didn't realize this, but the coyote was what they called their mystic brother. The coyote. And they were not going to be the prisoner of any or slave of anybody. So they were a pretty independent group of people. Now, as a child, the Apache was trained to have no pity. Mercy was not a quality that he understood. When an Apache sought information, he did not say, please. He hung his captive head down over a slow fire while the women removed, strip by strip, the unfortunate person's skin. His favorite method of persuasion, probably because red ants were so plentiful and it was easy, was to stake the victim over an anthill and smear them with honey. When he got tired of the screams, the Apache smeared more honey over the victim's ears, eyes, nose, and mouth. While the Apache often mutilated his captured enemies without mercy, he rarely took scalps. Now, that's kind of an odd change.
How nice.
Well, after you've done all that, you really don't need the scalp.
You know, the deal on the anthill, I mean, I'm sitting here, and you just got me with a case of the heebie-jeebies.
Oh.
That just doesn't set well.
Yeah. Now, when they did manage to capture a Mexican or a white person who had an Apache scalp on his belt, well, they experimented in even worse ways to give them a slow, painful death.
And
I don't even know. We don't even go to that. But it was worse than what I just told you.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
Holy smokes!
Now, children of a teachable age and disposition who were taken prisoner by the Apache were often incorporated into the tribe. Now, teenagers might be made slaves, while young ones too young to keep with the tribe might have just been basically killed. Now, despite cruelty, the Apache adoption was a system that was not completely bad, actually. For those who were tough enough to survive, Apache preferred to take Mexican children, and there's historical evidence of more than one kidnapped Mexican child who grew up to be a pretty fearsome and honored Apache warrior. And that didn't happen just with the Mexicans and this tribe. You know, there's other tribes that took in whites or Mexicans or whatever, and they became part of the tribe, became warriors, became chiefs in some cases. So, you know, the Apache was part of the country that he occupied. He knew every trail, every waterhole, every hideout. He traveled with enough equipment that would put a white man to shame. So he had a bow, quiver of arrows, a knife, a bag of pinole. Now, I had to look that one up, pinole. It's actually roasted ground maize or corn, and it's combined with spices to make different foods. So it's kind of a corn, maize something that they would mix with other things.
Sounds really great.
I'm going to see if I can find some.
Yeah, I bet you are.
And they also had a little bundle of jerky, a gun, and ammunition if they had one. And this was all they carried. That was it.
I was told in many books I've gotten, there's one over there I wish I could find for you right now, that they could go 2 or 3 times longer than anybody else without water.
I'm going to tell you about that a little bit here. Now, okay, so picture what he's got. He's carrying. He wore a breechcloth, an amulet. Now, an amulet is like a good luck charm.
Yeah.
It's like something they wear around the neck to protect them. Moccasins that sometimes laced above the knees. In later years, they sometimes wore a cotton shirt, unbuttoned, and trousers with parts of them cut out. Anyway, but when fighting time came, the warrior abandoned all clothing and went into battle wearing nothing but his paint, his amulet, and his moccasins.
I understand. Did they use or not horses as much as other tribes?
You know, it doesn't say that they did.
I don't think they did.
I don't think so, because it talks about, well, here it says he was trained to run from the time he crawled out of his mother's lap. Some said he could run 50 miles at a stretch without stopping to take a breather. And it is documented that some bands ran as much as 150 miles in 24-hour period to escape the army.
Wow.
And they're on horseback.
Yeah.
But the Apache on foot could set a pace that would kill the grain-fed cavalry horses.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just amazing. Now, strategy seemed to be born in the Apache. He rarely came over the hill in a wild charge. They were pretty smart as far as how they did things. Stealth was his chief weapon. An Apache could become a rock or a bush to the eyes of the untrained, and he could bury himself in sand and lie in wait for his enemy for as much as 2 days.
Wow.
He was always attacked using the advantage of surprise, and that was his powerful weapon. Now, the sighting of a single Apache in the vicinity of a ranch or village was enough to send the entire bunch running to the safety of nearby forts or towns. When an enemy pursuit got too close to a band of Apache, the band would scatter, each individual Apache leading the enemy in different directions until he lost them and he could return to an agreed place that they'd agreed on ahead of time. And it sometimes took months for the members of the band to reassemble but they generally always got back together, even after being chased by the cavalry. Now, the Apache was so familiar with the habits of wildlife that he seldom lacked for meat, and he made up the rest of his diet with what the women gathered and the raiders took as plunder. Now, when they had enough peace and time, Apache women might plant Apache corn, melons, beans, or squash. They ground acorns for flour. They fermented mescal and made Tiswan beer. You ever heard of that?
Tiswan?
Tiswan beer.
Yeah, and mescal.
And Tiswan beer is actually brewed from corn.
Yeah, but the mescal drink, isn't that what you just mentioned?
No, but that's another one.
Yeah, but that would knock you on your...
Root beer is as good as I go.
That's as strong as you'd want.
Yeah. Now, they also save certain plant pollens for their religious ceremonies. Now, after the territory was well settled and the Apache gave over his fondness for game in favor of more tame meat, they had a liking for mules, horses, sheep, goats, and cattle. It kind of filled out his diet. Most of the bands regarded Mexico as their private warehouse for food. They'd just go down and get a cow. You know, hey, this looks good, right?
You know what amazes me about the way they lived in the desert? You never really hear about too many of them being bit by snakes.
No.
Why?
I don't know. I can tell you this, when I saw a snake, I'd be heading the other direction.
Oh, yeah.
So fast. Now, unlike the Comanche or the Sioux, the Apache preferred to run rather than to ride. He was a guerrilla fighter, not cavalry. He did use horses. I forgot about this. And mules when he needed them. So they did have them. And there was a bonus for the warrior who rode into camp and brought his potluck supper with him, a horse.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, here's old paint.
Yeah. Now, cavalrymen used to say that when they abandoned a worn-out horse, a Mexican could take it and ride it for another 50 miles before again abandoning it in the desert. Then if the Apache found the exhausted animal, he would ride it for another 100 miles until it dropped dead, and then he'd eat it. Okay. Now, some traditions of the Apache family endured even to today. An Apache never looked at his mother-in-law or spoke to her. This was how he showed
respect. Wait a minute. I think this should be emphasized again. Go ahead.
I'm not going to. He left the wickiup as soon as she entered it in the days before.
That still happens, though.
In the days before he was forced to live by the white man's rules, it was the custom for one Apache man to have 2 or 3 wives. Must have been difficult to avoid all those mother-in-laws.
No wonder the guy left the wiki up.
Yeah, and was a runner.
150 miles.
So anyway, the families actually, in most of these incidents, were what they call matrilineal, which means they traced their kinship through the female line. So the man entered into the family life of his wife as soon as they were married, leaving his own parents and siblings behind. He might visit with them, but his responsibility was to his wife's family. Now, if she died, as women frequently did in those hard times, he stayed in mourning for a year and then generally married a relative of his former wife.
But there was no writing of the family history.
No, but that's the way they went. They went with the wife's side of the family.
Really?
When a young woman caught his eye, he could not approach her openly. Instead, he would ask a relative to approach her parents on his behalf. The number of horses, blankets, or whatever he gave for presents. Usually,
so there wasn't any courting?
Not
really.
Yeah, it was kind of...
It's kind of like, here's the horses, I'll take the woman.
Yeah. Now, a family included grandparents, unmarried sons and daughters, married daughters and their husbands, and the married daughters, children. Sometimes an entire band was one family unit, including cousins, uncles, and aunts. A clan or band was usually known by some name that described their preferred location. For example, they might be called the White Mountain Apache or some other something Apache. But women in the clan found it easier to work gathering food and preparing it for eating, for storage. Each clan, whether of one family or several, were organized by consent under a common consent under a single chief, and they rarely united with another. If one clan encroached on another's territory, they would fight.
How big in numbers were the clans?
You know, it doesn't really say, but if you start out with a few, and pretty soon you probably have 100, but yet another family might not be 20 or 30.
Yeah, but you could end up with a Hatfield and McCoy situation, too.
Yep. Now, the Apache was deeply religious. He believed in a supreme being. It was called Yusin, giver of life. Yusin was without particular place, of no determined sex, and couldn't be reached directly by prayer or supplication. The Apache sought Yusin's power through some totem which had been revealed to him in a dream or a vision. This totem became the Apache's guardian and taught him the ways and will of Yusin. Now, I had never heard of that one, Yusin, or, the Great Spirit, or
I've
whatever.
heard him refer to the Great Spirit.
Yeah. But there were special ceremonies for everything. A medicine man was a man of great power and respect, a practical mystic who could sing the sick to health. He could find lost treasures, give warriors protection against natural enemies.
What did they do with old medicine men that couldn't perform their duties?
I think they lost their job. He could sing arrows and bullets to their targets or protect the clansmen from weapons of the enemies. He could call the wind, rain, or sandstorm, and he could make clouds disappear and cause the sun to shine. The Apache's favorite token, next to pollen, was the eagle feather. The downy feather from the eagle's breast was the most prized. He wore it during ceremonies, or tied it to his horse's mane for good fortune, or carried
if
it
he didn't eat him
his
first.
No, he didn't eat the eagle.
I'm talking about the horse with the eagle feather.
Now, here's how they lived. They had a wooden wickiup, which was a rough-appearing dwelling the Apache built from whatever materials they had at hand. They would take tall branches of pine, cedar, mesquite, or juniper, and they'd stick them in the ground in a circle and then bring them together in the top, so kind of a round looking, almost like an upside down bowl. And the framework was covered with grass or cloth or skins. Now, it was always a short-term house and could be abandoned just instantly, and a lot of times the wickiup was burned because it became infested with lice or other pests.
Welcome home, Cotter.
Or if someone died in that, they also burned it.
Really?
They wouldn't go back and live in it.
Wow.
Now, Apache mothers carried their babies on cradle boards and made cloth slings for older youngsters. And in their way, Apache had a strong sense of humor. So far from the stoic stereotype of the wooden Indian, they made jokes and they laughed when they were among their own or with friends, but they often gave in to unreasonable and savage fits of temper. So you might be laughing one minute, and the next minute you better be either on the run or whatever.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
They lived in the desert, out in the middle of the desert, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Did they ever bathe?
Zeb, that is not discussed in this at all. You know, I will say this. I've heard of a lot of Indian tribes that they camp next to rivers or streams, and every morning, first thing, they jump in the river. So down there, they had to camp near streams for water, right?
Well, there's not a lot of that in Arizona.
That's true. Now, men would sometimes beat their wives for little reason, and sometimes beat them to death.
Oh my goodness!
And yet, strangely, they were tender with their children. It was unheard of for man or woman to strike a child of the clan.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I know we're about out of time, so I just got a little bit more. The history of the Apache after the coming of the white man is kind of bad on both sides. You know, you had some great Apache war chiefs: Magnus Colorado, co-chief, Geronimo, Old Nana, Chato, Natchez, and others. Of all the white men in the Apache territory at the time, the ones who dealt honorably with the Apache could be counted on one hand. They didn't treat Indians very well, generally.
No.
But there were some. There was a guy named John P. Clum, Tom Jeffords, General Howard, General Crook.
Tom Jeffords was an Indian agent to the Apaches, and they made a TV series about him.
Treated them very well. They loved him.
It was called Broken Arrow back in the 60s.
Al Sieber was another one. And they were more Apache at heart than white. Now, a few other whites in authority tried to deal fairly with them, but there was so much treachery and undercutting and differences that, you know, it was really rough.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, that's kind of the story of the Apaches.
You did a good job on that.
An amazing tribe, and you know their traditions and their loyalty to each other and their religions. You know, just an amazing group of people.
And next week he's going to come back and tell us where they took their bath.
That's right.
Okay. Dr. History, thank you very much for being on the program. We are out of time, and we're going to send it immediately over to our main studios for this break and be back in just a few minutes. Dr. History, God bless you. Thank you much.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, thank you. When Matt and Kelly Wiggins set out to build the Greystone Crossing, they wanted it to be a big, big home where the residents would feel part of a family unit. Well, they did it. A 12-bedroom home, Greystone Crossing, independent senior living on Alfresco Road. That's 21st Street in Heyburn, just 1 mile east of Walmart. Hey, I'm telling you, 3 meals a day, plus snacks, plus housekeeping and local transportation, and it's all included in the rent. Oh, my goodness, what a great place to live, a place to be with your friends. You'd better call and check it out today. Number to call, 650-4979, and make an appointment to let them show you all around Greystone Crossing, independent senior living in Heyburn. I'm going to go to the phone line right now, and a gentleman that was on the program a week ago, and for some wild-haired reason, I kept mispronouncing his last name, and I've known him for a long time. We're going to do it right this week, or we're not going to do it at all. Hello, Steve Staley up there at Oakley Pioneer Days. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Thank you very much. I'm doing well. How are you today?
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, before we go any further about Oakley Pioneer Days, I want a complete kind of a overview of how the wild, world-famous bump and rub car race went.
You know, it went really well. We had quite a few cars out here and a good crowd, and I think everybody enjoyed it. We had a really good bump and rub action car race. Particularly on Saturday night. It was good. It's perfect weather. You know, we had that storm that came through pretty much Cassia County and north of the river, and I think it scared some people off. But we ended up having a good turnout and beautiful weather. you couldn't ask for a better 2 nights of racing.
Well, now, does anybody I know ended up winning the race? Do you have that information?
I do. Travis Worthington of TNT Electric, he ended up winning it. This is the second year in a row that he's ended up taking that. I don't recall off the top of my head who took second. I think that it was, oh gosh, dang it, Brett Jones.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Brett. It was his brother, Bryce. Bryce Jones won second, and I don't remember who took third. But, we don't just race cars. Are you still with me there?
Yeah, I am. Go ahead.
Okay, my Bluetooth beeped at me, so I was making sure you're still there. We don't just race cars. We have a best of show class that goes along with that. And I don't like talking about the past, but if you're interested in getting in on these car races, if you decorate your car, we had a General Lee car out there that had the horn and all. That was Jeff Douglas of South Hills Electric. He ended up winning best of show as far as a themed car. And we have several other winning classes there. So those guys make $150, and that's a good portion of your entry fee right there. So, anybody next year that's interested in coming out, be sure to put a car together, a 4-cylinder car, knock the windows out of it, and have it race ready that weekend.
Absolutely.
And, usually the weekend before the 24th.
Absolutely. Now, last night, catch us up a little bit on the information. Last night you had the Moto Rodeo, and a lot of people called me and wanted to know what that was. Give us a quick synopsis real fast.
Okay, so we run four-wheelers, dirt bikes, UTVs, side-by-sides, whatever you want to call them. We run the side-by-sides around our already prepped and ready bump and rub racetrack, and on the inside of the rodeo arena, and the reason why it's called a Moto Rodeo is because we use the Moto arena, and they do similar things to, they go through poles for pole bending, they do barrel races, we set up a little obstacle course in there, and the dirt bikes and four-wheelers go through there, and the kids love it. They have a really good time. It gives them a chance to get out and ride in front of other people, builds up their confidence a little bit, and the families have a great time while they're out there. They're watching that as well.
All right, that brings us up to today, Tuesday. Take us from today as to what's happening up at Oakley for Pioneer Days.
Tonight we have our team swim night. It starts at 9 p.m., ends at 11:30 p.m. It's $2 to get in there. That's at the Oakley pool. Passes do not apply there. But the Oakley pool, if you're not able to make it up tonight, if you come up any of the rest of the week, it's open Monday through Saturday, 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., closes at 7 p.m. there on Saturday the 20th.
Okay. Now, I have said on the radio, Steve, many times that when you folks put on a gymkhana up at Oakley, it's one of the biggest in the Northwest. Tell us about what's going to happen on Thursday at 6 o'clock.
Right on. 6 o'clock, our gymkhana starts, and it's open to amateur contestants 16 and under. So any of those little buckarettes who want to come out and get on a sheet or ride a calf or anything like that, we have that going on. We also have roping events. We have poles and barrels. The mutton busting is ages 3 to 5, calf riding 6 to 12, and we have amateur bull riding as well. That's 13 to 16. And again, this is 16 and under. It's $5 for each event, Zeb. So there's buckles awarded to the rough stock, poles, and barrels, and we're pretty much on the deadline we're past the deadline as far as pre-entering, but I'm sure if you made a couple of phone calls and called our good president, Cash Taylor, you could definitely squeeze in an event or there.
Okay. Now, Friday and Saturday, Oakley has long been known as having a great rodeo. It's going to be Friday and Saturday this week starting at 7:30 p.m. Give us a breakdown as to what people can expect.
Okay, so this is an open rodeo, and I haven't clarified whether you need a card to even enter up in that. So if you're local talent and you want to get on some of Hogan's stock, come on out. It's going to be announced by Cade Rogie this year. We love having him back every year, and he's bringing his good friend Drew for the music. Friday night is Patriot Night. All veterans is free gate admission. And we appreciate our veterans, and that's just our way of showing our appreciation. Say, hey, come out, enjoy the show. Glad to have you. Thanks for coming, and thanks for being a veteran and all that you've done for our country. Friday and Saturday night, we have stock saddle bronc riding. Saturday night, we're going to have the wild cow riding. That's $80 per team. If you're interested in getting in on that, contact Cash Taylor. And the big shebang to close out everything is our fireworks. And I'm telling you, Zeb, it's going to be the best show within 5 counties, even on the 4th of July. We're putting together a lot of fireworks out there, and it's going to be a show.
All right. All of that on Friday and Saturday. And then also, you might want to mention about what's happening Friday night following the rodeo, live entertainment in your city park.
Yes, we always have a dance there in our city park. It goes on until 1 a.m., and tickets are included with the purchase of a rodeo ticket. You know, we've got a lot going on that evening. Come out after you get done watching the rodeo, take your sweetheart down to the dance and spin her around a little bit. It's a good way to close out a Friday evening for a date night.
You know, there's so much going on at Oakley Pioneer Days, and I tell you what, Friday and Saturday, the vigilantes aren't going to get any rest. I mean, you look at Friday, you've got the co-ed volleyball tournament, you've got the basketball tournaments, you've got vendors in the park on Saturday, the Chuck Wagon breakfast, the Goose Creek runoff. Woo, man, bring us up to speed on all of that.
I will try in a quick fashion. Friday, July 19th, we have our 4-on-4 co-ed grass volleyball tournament. That's at 8 a.m. at the Oakley High School football field. It's $80 per team, and they must have 2 female players, but they can have an all-female team. And if you're interested in getting in on some of that action, contact Jill Hardy. We have Friday, our 3-on-3 basketball tournament starts, and 1st through 8th grade plays on Friday. Registration is from 6 p.m. to 6:45 with games to follow. That's $40 a team. And then Saturday, for all those ballers that are out there, 9th grade and up, registration is at 12:30 to 1 p.m. with games to follow at $60 a team, limited to 30 teams, maximum of 4 players per team. There's a lot of people to contact there. Mark Mace, Cody Beck, Jeff Bedke, Kristen Jones. Jeff Bedke's a little busy right now, so any of the 3 before that, good people to contact. So any of this information, if anybody, you're wanting to get information on what's going on, the Oakley Vigilantes have a Facebook page, and we have this poster that's up there that lists all the events and all the contacts on there as well.
Okay. Steve, you have long been known up in Oakley with the great big culmination day Saturday of having one of the, if not the best parades anywhere in the Northwest, the Oakley Pioneer Day Parade. Tell us about that.
Yes, and our theme this year is the best is yet to come. It starts at 11 a.m. The lineup is at 10 a.m. If you're interested in getting in on that, contact Debbie Gibby. The Grand Marshals are Gary Whiteley and his wife, and then we have honored pioneers that will be there as well. And the Pioneer Day Parade is us signifying and paying tribute to the pioneers that have started everything out here. And, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. And it's our way of saying thank you and showing appreciation to those that have come before us.
All right. A couple of things we didn't mention the last time, and I want to be sure and get in today. The Oakley Steak Barbecue, the Oakley Valley Museum, and the Howells Opera House Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Go ahead and highlight some of that.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'm going to go backwards a little bit. We have a Chuck Wagon breakfast that's brought to you by the Oakley Booster Club. That's $7 for an adult plate or $40 for a family of 6. That starts at 7 a.m. and runs until 10 a.m. at the city park. And if you didn't get filled up there, which I'm sure you will, you can come out to our Oakley Steak Barbecue, and that's noon at the Oakley City Park. And that's going to be catered by our mayor, Robert Bell, and his Homestyle Catering. That's $5 per person. We have the Goose Creek runoff going on at that time. and the Oakley Valley Museum is going to be open, and it's pretty much open all this week. It's open Friday, the 19th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and it's going to be closed during the parade that starts there at 11 o'clock. And we have our Howells Opera House that's producing Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And for those of you that haven't been out to see a play in a long time, I highly encourage coming out. They put together a great play, good cast. There's actors and actresses that come in from all over the valley. We have people coming as far as Pocatello, Idaho Falls, that come in for these productions, and it's really a good time for the family, and it's really a great date night as well. And that pretty much runs from today on until the 27th, with a few days missing there in between. Of course, Sunday they don't have a show going on, but they also have a matinee on Saturday at 2 p.m.
Okay. Steve, I had a call, and it was early this morning before I went on the air, and this gentleman said, how do we get into Oakley when everything is closed down Saturday to shut streets off for the parade? Are there signs as to where they can go?
I don't know if there will be signs or not, but it's pretty simple. You get on Highway 27 and drive south from Burley, and you're going to run right smack dab in the middle of Oakley. And if the streets are lined up and you're not able to pull over or get to a good parking spot, I'm sure the kind people of Oakley, my neighbors, won't mind if you park right in front of their house, as long as you're not blocking their driveway, to get out and view the parade. And one thing for those people that are thinking about bringing their kiddos out, I've already seen some of the boxes and boxes of candy that a lot of the people that go through our parade are getting ready to distribute. And it's one of those things that I send my little girls down there, and I let them get about a quarter bag of candy, and I usually try to gather up candy for the rest of the kids that are around there. But bring a grocery sack, because it's going to be pretty full by the time it's all said and done. Feed them all that candy, get them all hyped up, and they'll be ready for the rodeo.
Absolutely. You do have a major sponsor of this entire event. Maybe you'd like to mention those folks.
Yes, and we sure appreciate Schooler and them sponsoring this year with the Dakota Gold Pro Pellet. It's a feed supplement, and they use it with a lot of the livestock that are using roughage, like corn silage and feeding on corn stalks. And we really appreciate them coming out and being our title sponsor this year. Without all of our sponsors and the help with the community and our patrons, the people that come out to view our rodeos and the bump and rub and everything else that goes on, without everybody involved, this wouldn't happen. And we're so very thankful for all those that come out and pay us a visit during our celebration here in Oakley for the Pioneer Days.
Wow. I mean, this gentleman is a wealth of information about what's going on at Oakley Pioneer Days for 2019. Steve Staley, God bless you, man. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you, Zeb. Have a great day.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Man, if you say there's nothing to do, holy moly, head up to Oakley. They'll keep you busy every day, 24/7. It seems like they got things going on all the time up there for Oakley Pioneer Days. I've got to get to the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Go to their website. All the great tasting meats, whether it's the tri-tips or all the different kinds of bacon, or whether it's the bratwurst or the marinated pork ribs. Oh, my, it's tremendous. Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow and his crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. We'll have more right after Gina gives us the weather.
Here's a look at your weather forecast as we make our way through this work week, and we are expecting mostly sunny skies for most of the week, maybe a few storms here and there, but for today, it does look like sunny skies, maybe a few clouds roaming around, And we do have a slight chance of some afternoon rain showers and thunderstorms. Those storms could produce some gusty winds and some possible lightning strikes, so be careful. We are expecting a high of 84 tonight. Those thunderstorms could continue in the early evening hours. Partly cloudy skies for tonight with a low of 54. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 87. By Thursday, sunny and 86. That's looking at the weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, very much. And sounds like a pretty good forecast for the next couple of days. Scarro's Meats, Don Scarrow and his excellent folks at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Or like I said, go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. They, at Scarro's Meats, are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. All right, I got time for a call or two, and I'd really like to hear from you this morning. Give us a jingle on the landline, and we'll talk about anything and everything that we've talked about perhaps so far this morning, and give us a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I still go back to the lead story that we talked about this morning that just really upsets me, that it's all negativity against President Trump. Even our local rag, the Times News, they devote a complete section every Sunday to basically twisting and turning the facts against Donald Trump the way they want you to hear about the presidency. I would just love to pick up the paper and read about the good things that he's done, that this administration has done, and whether it's with energy or whether it's with the economy or whatever the case might be. But no, everything is absolutely spiteful and hateful against this man and his presidency. And, you know, it's just like the Squad, those 4 women, that repulses me, by the way, Ms. Pressley and Cortez, Tlaib and Omar. From day one, all those women wanted to do when they became freshman congresswomen was go after Donald Trump with their vile and filthy language. Look it up, you'll see what I mean. And now the tables were turned a little bit because they're always continuing to harass and be negative about America. And finally, President Trump had enough and walked outside at a press conference and said, if you don't like America, leave. And that is considered to be a racial comment, a racist comment. You know, this racism is absolutely getting out of hand. And they call Trump a racist. I hate that word. And anyone that thinks and wants to throw that terminology at someone is absolutely despicable. And I don't know what your thoughts are in regards to these women, but each and every one of them have been negative in their own right since they've taken over office in being against America, against its values, against its Constitution. And I'll go on record again as saying, I agree with President Trump. If you don't like America, leave. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you, too, about our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, we have got some good ones. Absolutely. 7 locations serving you with the best in tires. And I mean all your tires, all the sizes, all the different tread designs, and some of which you can get an instant rebate on purchasing a set of 4 tires. Check it out today. And don't forget, too, they have a free pre-trip safety check. And that's something extra as a bonus to you. They'll check your tires, including air pressure, wheel alignment, tire wear, front-end components, along with shocks and struts, battery load test, and brake components. They want you to leave on a trip and come home safely. Along with that, the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. All of this at the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Nobody better. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. What do we got on tomorrow? Oh, this is going to be good. We got Dave Beagle from Indianapolis, Indiana, and then Daniel Turner, is going to be on the air, and then we have the old fishing hole, and then following right against the old fishing hole, we're going to have our fishing game report for tomorrow with the Idaho Fishing Game. I don't know who's going to be representing them tomorrow, but I know they'll be on at about 10:20 tomorrow morning. All of this and more right here on Zeb at the Ranch, and we're very thankful to be on K-Bar 1230 and then streaming live on the internet all over the world on ZebBell.com, thanks to our great internet audience. And we always wrap up the program by saying the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. But always remember this: in God we trust. Have a wonderful day. We'll be back here tomorrow morning. Old Wheels over at the station, my engineer. We'll see you on Zeb at the Ranch at 8:06.